Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Last Day. And I really did not like this episode. It, in my opinion, is the weakest episode of this current season. Because it really muddies the time-traveling aspects of what's going on, and really just calls into question why, if you're doing time travel like this, why it would happen this way and what's really going on. So, we see them pretty much trying to get information out of Robin because pretty much they get everybody back together, trying to assess everything that's going on. We find out that there is a potential time traveling machine that uses the frequency for the monolith on the Zephyr 1 that they are on that's crash landed, and they're having a real hard time trying to get answers out of Robin because she's fluctuating between time periods in her head. And this episode had started off with her on the Zephyr and Gravity Storm stuff going on, May flying the Zephyr, Gemma there, and it's like, okay, here's the thing. If the last time they were together was in the past and you've taken pretty much everybody from the past into the future, how is any of this occurring? It would have thrown everything out of whack. Now granted, they still have time enough to kind of explain that, but there's things that it just really screws up. I do not think that the flashback methods for Robin's past were very effective. It really disjointed the episode and just made it harder to follow rather than giving us the information that was needed. Because it kind of went like this. We see the beginning with the whole Zephyr thing. We see that they're in the lighthouse. Yo-Yo goes off to pretty much die because Mac was dead. She's going rather go out with her boots on pretty much than live as a slave. While May and Fitz and Simmons are trying to take care of Robin and figure out plans and everything. And May is the one who really kind of becomes the mother to Robin because her mother had died when everything was going down. And tell them certain things at certain times. And of course this gets to Fitz and Simmons building this machine, or at least having the schematics down for this machine that will resonate the frequency for the monolith for time travel. And of course we see everybody kind of getting fed up with Robin to a degree, like Fitz being pissed off because she told him how Simmons would die and all that. And granted, I understand that we would think that Fitz would get that ticked off at Robin, but I don't really believe so. He would understand it as a power that she can't control, and I mean, he would be angry at being told about Simmons' death and everything, but it was just kind of like, okay. And finding out that she had to tell May something at the end, which kind of leaps back into the whole thing that's going on. So we find out that Deke's going around the ship. He's meeting with Voss and the rest of the people. And you're like, wow, this is kind of crazy that they're alive and everything. And he's talking with Daisy saying, yeah, hopefully I'm able to have that dad moment where he's like, yeah, I told you so and all that. And her relaying everything that was going on with her father. So he goes around and we see in Voss's locker this shard of the monolith. And evidently it was something that Deke's father and before him his mother had on them at all times, and he'd even begged his father to have it as a keepsake to remind him of his mother. But of course this leads Voss to knock him out, and their plan is to kill Daisy to prevent the world from being destroyed. Kind of a, if you go back in time, do you kill Hitler or not kind of thing. But of course, with our agent people, because we'd see in this video, this was the last time anybody saw Agent Johnson alive. So we're like, okay. So they start fighting and everything. People had pretty much locked up Fitz and Simmons. They're able to get through everything, but of course Robin is killed because Voss is pretty much in a scenario where he can't defeat them, and of course Daisy still can't use her power because they had looked into it, but since they aren't advanced, they don't have the advanced enough technology or an advanced neurosurgeon to do it, they could paralyze her. So they're like, no, we're not going to do it. So Voss stabs Robin to prevent her from telling them what's going on. And of course, we'd seen in a past thing that she was calling out the name Flint, that Flint was going to help. And we see a nice moment with Robin kind of dying and May kind of comforting her and everything, and that May had become a surrogate mother to her and telling her how to save the world and everything. And of course, she goes, well, who's Flint? And that's kind of where the episode ends. And we're going, okay, so he's going to use the shard to find the rest of the pieces of the monolith and go back and save the world. Because I think Robin told May some more stuff to get there. And I know it seems that it seemed like not a lot happened in this episode, but really not a lot did consequently. If you really boil it down to it, Robin was able to get the pertinent information that was needed for them to get the monolith. So that way they had a geo-focused, geokinetic Inhuman to be able to find the rest of the pieces of the monolith, because if it's shattered in that many pieces, it's going to be a bitch of a time without him to find it. And I don't know, it felt very disjointed. I felt like it was kind of more focused that we were going towards a goal, and then it was just like, this is the goal? I don't know what's going on with this. So, I don't know how they're going to stop what has happened in the past to break apart the Earth. Unless, and then it gets into the muddy, and with time travel, you always have to be careful with these kind of scenarios. Because all of them at this moment are in the future. Once they get back into the past, it throws off into kind of like temporal bubbles and all that kind of stuff, and it's just not clear how this is still going on while they're supposed to be in the past. That means they'd had to have gone back for this future to even have occurred. It gets kind of crazy, but you're like, okay, I'm trying to grasp to try and figure out what's going on. It's just, okay, they could fix it, they could give clear explanations, but you're going, okay. So, pretty much it's ending with, okay, we need Flint. What we get also in this episode, because there's kind of three things going on, the whole flashbacks, this, and the whole Flint scenario. Cassius has decided, fuck them all, and pretty much sends the roaches to take out the rest of the humans. He's shut off water, light, pretty much trying to take them all out. So, of course, Mac and them had, Mac, Yo-Yo, and Flint gone to get the weaponry from where Fitz had hidden it. And, of course, Flint's like, why do you need the axe on it? Wouldn't it make it harder to shoot? He's like, so I can chop heads off. And then, of course, they get into other scenarios, taking out roaches. Mac uses it, and he's like, shotgun axe. I get it now. So there were some good things in it. I liked when it was focused on the lighthouse and going off against Cassius. When it started getting into time travel stuff, it just muddied itself and kind of just went a little bit going, alright, that's really, you could have done that in a more concise and actually kind of truncated thing, better paced way, so that way you're going, okay, this is what we need to do, and keep moving forward. So, they're trying to take out all the roaches. They pretty much pull them into one place, and Yo-Yo frickin' uses the bomb things and takes them out. It's really pretty cool. So, they're setting up to get everybody together to fight Cassius. And, of course, Cassius has sent Synara. She gets to the Zephyr but finds no one there and is continuing on the surface. So that's kind of where it's left off. It was a really kind of poorly paced and poorly kind of executed episode, in my opinion. I didn't completely hate it because there's some good stuff with Matt, Yo-Yo, and Flint, and I'm intrigued to see how Flint is going to be used to both get the monolith and I would assume go back in time to be the one to either keep the Earth from blowing apart or they'd have to stop him from blowing the Earth apart. I don't know. This just introduced some craziness. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it'll be clear going forward, because I thought we were going, alright, there's probably going to be something that we're going to get to that will make this a little bit clearer about what the endgame scenario is with Cassius and all that, and this whole thing with the Destroyer of Worlds. But I felt that it didn't do that good of a job in this episode. But I am willing to let this show try and rectify some and help me understand what's going on a little bit more in the episodes to come. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.